Hey y'all, it's Gunner here. To get us started, I wanted to start on the progression of business. Around the pre-1700s, the agricultural era and owning of farms was a big thing. And this is where we began to see a change from hunters and gatherers. Then as warehouses were being built, and it started the transition into the Industrial Revolution in around 1760. This led to an increased numbers in cities, as well as less specialized workforce. This promoted factory lines, so you'd have a person sitting there using a wrench all day. And as people wanted to become their own boss, it ushered in the entrepreneurship era, which was from the late 1800s. This drastically increased the standard of living. Then as prices rose to manufacture things again, then came the production era, and around the 1920s, which used the push strategy, where you could either buy it in black or green and no in between. Solicitors wouldn't leave until you bought their product either. This was also around the beginning of workers' unions, which at the time companies were about efficiency and mass production. Then things started to reverse, and around 1950, then the pull strategy came into play, which was where you asked the customers what they wanted and you produced things in that color. Then the relationship era in the early 2000s began, which focused primarily on repeat customers, so you'd get customers to try and come back to your company as many times as possible and try to build a relationship. But now we are currently in the experience era, which started around 2015. And this is where you get unique experiences like the chef's kit. You walk in and you go into the back and the chef will make you anything you want that night. The next big thing is the different types of economics, like micro and macroeconomics. Microeconomics is more focused on consumers, families, and businesses, while macroeconomics is focused more on an overall economy, such as the overall U.S. economy. An important thing to remember is that debt on a depreciating asset is dumb. An example of a depreciating asset is a pair of shoes. You wear them once and they are worth less. This really applies when you buy things like that on a credit card. Another thing to keep your business going is to know your 5 environments. These are social. So here in Seattle, our social environment is we are normally very eco-friendly. So knowing that and producing bioplastic, things that'll break down naturally. Globally, you have to know whether you're going to outsource or whether you're going to be reacting or interacting with international companies. You have to know technological environment. You have to know whether you're going to be using emails, text, just keeping things up to date. Then you have to know your competitive environment, and you have to know your prices, your prices, your opponent's prices, your strengths and weaknesses, as well as your opponents. You also have to know your USP, your unique selling proposition. Economics, you have to be able to predict the economy and prepare for the ups and downs so you're never falling behind. There's also the factors of production, natural resources, so your wood, minerals, and other things commonly found in nature. Your labor force, so your workers, the capital, so that everything you own, your building and other tools that you use. Your entrepreneurship, so that's whether you're an individual or a group. When you're investing, you got to make sure that you diversify. You have to diversify. Without diversifying and the market that you're invested in crashes, you're screwed. You've lost all your money. So that's why you invest in different markets. So you invest in fashion, technology, and automobiles. Then there's also 2 different main types of investment. There's the stock market, and there's also bonds. Stock market is where you invest in private industries in hopes of getting your money back. But a bond is a paid loan to the government, which will be paid back to you with interest. Then accounting is the process of keeping track of money and money transactions. This means everything bought, sold, donated, and received goes through the accountant's hands. The accountants also need to know to interpret and run different types of reports, such as balance sheets, how the money moves through a business, income statements. These show profit or loss. Capital statements describes capital or equipment. Cash flow, make sure the money comes in before it goes out. One thing that determines what a person does, company produces, country produces, has to do with absolute advantage. Absolute advantage is where you have 2 choices in front of you, and you are better at both than the other person. For example, let's say Canada produces both t-shirts and computers, and they are better than Mexico at both those things. That is called having an absolute advantage. After absolute advantage comes interdependence. Normally out of 2 things, one either creates more joy or one either makes more money, and you have to choose. So you choose one and leave the other one for another company. I appreciate all for listening. Don't check back because I won't be making another one. Signing out, your boy Gunner Moorhead.